Hello, I'm Matthew Everett, and this is Q to Q, a conversation about theater in the Twin Cities. For 11 days in August, artists from across Minnesota and all over the United States and Canada converge to create the Minnesota Fringe Festival, the largest non-juried visual and performing arts festival in the United States. Comedy, drama, dance, puppets, clowning, classics, and world premieres. On Q to Q, we'll give you a taste of what you can experience at the Fringe. Commedia Beauregard has been around for a number of years, and this year they're bringing their act to the Fringe, liberating some of Shakespeare's women from the various plays they're in separately and bringing them all together in different ways of staging. And the director, Sasha Wallach, is here with us today, along with two of the actresses in the cast, Katie Kaufman and Kate Gunther. So we're going to talk a little bit about the process of bringing the show together and why they're bringing their act to the Fringe. So thanks very much for being with us. Let's bring us up to speed on sort of how the whole idea came to be, I guess, for starters.
Oh, well, the idea was kind of a culmination of several factors, a long history of studying and enjoying Shakespeare, and then kind of a new interest in collaborative theater and physical theater, and so that coming together created this. And we decided to focus on the female characters of Shakespeare, kind of in a look at things that might often get missed in Shakespeare in general. And the characters we thought were, something that could be brought out and something that there was a lot of depth to that we could really delve into and discover.
Okay, and talk a little bit about the process. I mean, you're just sort of in the middle of it right now. How is it proceeding? How are you all sort of bringing your different talents to bear on it and trying to shape the piece?
Well.
I'll throw that open to any of you.
Basically what we're doing is coming up with ideas for what we're interested in, ideas for scenes, something that would be interesting to show, and then trying to improvise scenes out of that. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of experience with creating theater. That's what I went to school for, and that's what I prefer to do. I prefer to create a play than to be in an already written play. So that's the way that I like to work. So yeah. It's fun to work with these women that have various backgrounds and see what they all add to the mix.
And it's like great looking at a lot of different themes or ideas we want to explore about the women of Shakespeare and like taking those concepts and seeing how we can physicalize them and like put them into a space.
So themes such as what? What kind of things do you find you're touching on?
How the women are identified, like how they are the characters they are. Is it based off of their relationship with other men or with other women? Themes about how they are expressed in the plays, what roles they play.
Mm-hmm. We've also been looking at how they relate to women today. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of characters and a lot of Shakespeare in general. I think people sometimes start to think that it's not really relevant to them, that it's in this other world, this kind of medieval Renaissance thing, that the people aren't like people today. The situations are super extreme and tragic, and that isn't reality. But we're looking at the different kinds of women there are and these kind of archetypes that still exist today.
And what sort of archetypes?
Well, one of the main ones that we've been looking at is the kind of missed archetype of the maid, the lady-in-waiting, the nurse. These are characters that kind of hang around in the background, and yet every main woman in Shakespeare has this kind of partner that gives them a lot of advice, that gives them this support. They're really the characters that are kind of the backbone of of kind of Shakespeare's voice himself in there, putting in the morality and the logic that the main characters don't see in whatever extreme situation exists. And I think we all have that kind of best friend or mother or something like that that's there.
And the show is called Screwed to the Sticking Place. And we've got a sequence from that now, and this has Desdemona and Ophelia together in a sequence together. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll come back and talk a little more about the process.
Okay.
God have mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, kill me tomorrow. Let me live tonight, but half an hour. But well, I say one prayer. Kill me tomorrow. Let me live tonight. Kill me tomorrow. Let me live tonight. Kill me tomorrow. Let me live tonight. Kill me. God by you.
So Kate and Katie, there were obviously lines from Shakespeare in that sequence. Can you discuss a little bit about how the text is coming together, how much of it maybe you folks are creating, and how much of it is actually lines pulled from Shakespeare's plays?
Well, in that scene, we chose to take the final lines of each of those characters before they actually die. And for a lot of like the improv that we've been doing, we've been just playing individual lines and seeing how we can use those to like motivate movement and communication. Some of the scenes we are creating our own dialogue, our own language, but we are definitely pulling a lot of Shakespeare's own language to help like ground the characters and identify who they are for the audience.
And Sasha, sort of why the Fringe, I guess, is another question. I mean, and I guess a related question would be sort of why theater? Why choose to express yourselves in this particular way, and then why bring it to the sort of communal craziness of the and wonderfulness of the Fringe as well?
Wow, I think why theater is
Might be a whole other discussion. But
a huge question that, you know, I think all of us in theater kind of spend our entire lives answering that question. There's just this crazy desire to do theater, a kind of urge that, you know, with the realities of the money that are involved in theater versus the money that we could make doing a regular day job, you just really have to have a passion and a love for it. And I think that the Fringe, why the Fringe is because of that. In the great thing about the Twin Cities is that there's so much theater, but the problem with that can be that it becomes this really fierce competition between all the theater companies to vie for the audience that are going to live theater. So I think the Fringe, even with all of the shows, there's this feeling that it's not a competitive thing. It's just a lot of people that really love art and creativity and entertainment and want to get together and experience that.
And is that the sort of thing that draws you to actually throw your hat in the ring for a Fringe show? I mean, is that the sort of thing that draws you to that particular collaboration?
Well, I think with the Fringe, it's sort of a venue where anything goes, and you're free to explore and to screw up if you have to. But obviously we don't want to screw up. But there's a lot of work that doesn't get produced because people are afraid to not have an audience, or people are afraid that they won't make money off of it, or they don't have the money to actually produce it. And I think that the Fringe is great for experimental work like what we're doing, because there is a need for it and a craving for it, and sometimes that's maybe the only part of the year that people actually get to see experimental work.
It provides that infrastructure so that you're free to risk, because there's the sort of a safety net.
Right.
There's a built-in audience that comes. And talk a little bit about the other collaborators involved in this. I mean, Kate and Katie are two of the actresses involved in it. It's an all-female cast.
It is.
And the other people who are involved in it, and what's their background?
Well, we've got all of them, I think, come from some kind of physical theater background, with the exception of Anne, who has a BFA from a university in California. It's a very traditional language-based background, but I think that helps a lot with working with Shakespeare's language. The other ones, Mark Hilk Kiefer has gone to the Lecoq School in Colorado, and Kelly was an intern at the Junloon. So we have that kind of background. Jane Schwantz just has a great number of years with working experience with collaborative theater, with Shakespeare, and with physical theater both. Who else have I not mentioned? Katie Rose is a dancer who has also done a lot of performance with the Junloon and with other kind of physical theater companies. She just has great instincts. So it's all a really creative and talented bunch of ladies.
So you're improvising now, and then you'll shape the script and rehearse sort of your final choices, and then bring that to the Fringe and put it in front of people. So if people are looking for information on the show, there is the Fringe Festival website, obviously. There'll be a show page there. And also Commedia Beauregard, you can find information there by going to soulsofwit.com.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a place there to click for Commedia Beauregard.
Right.
And you'll know that you're there by the little marionette puppet there. And I visited, and it's very amusing, so check that out. Well, thanks very much for the three of you for coming in and talking about your show. I'm really interested in seeing the finished product. I'm looking forward to it, and good luck with the rest of your process.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for having us.
One of the many dance companies participating in the Minnesota Fringe Festival this year is Universal Dance Destiny, and we have a couple of representatives from their Fringe show here with us, so we're going to talk a little bit about the company itself and also their show. We have here artistic director Edna Stevens-Talton and spoken word artist, his stage name is Truth Maze. You actually, Edna, have a very interesting journey. You've come to Minnesota from several different places.
Exactly.
Talk to us a little bit about that and sort of why you landed here in the Twin Cities and chose it as a place to start doing your art.
Well, for me, the reason why I named my company Universal Dance and put that destiny at the end is because I really do believe that we're all destined to be at a certain place in life at a certain time. And this was my destiny. I'm from Liberia. I lived in Liberia until I was 7. And I came to the United States because of the war and just the country not being so stable. So my dad sent us here. And I did move around a lot too, because we started with Virginia and then ended up in New York. In New York is a great place to be artistically as well. A little bit different from the Twin Cities because it's more television. So I was always in a music video, or MTV, which was a great experience, BET. And then my mom picked up and decided she was going to move to Minnesota. So I was pretty disappointed. My mom and I are very, very close. And then while she started living here, she got ill. So I actually came here to be with my mom. So it really wasn't for arts. But when I got here, the appreciation for the arts blew me away, because everyone appreciates it. No matter what your art form is, people want to see it and they respect it. Whereas in New York, it's a dime a dozen. It's just so many of us. I guess that's the downside to living in such a crowded state. And I really believe that that's why I'm here. My mom brought me here, and guess what? She's no longer here. She ended up getting better and moved with my brother in Philadelphia. So I've already started my company in 2002 was when I started it. Again, pretty small. We were just a dance group at the time. And I got some dancers from the church, and we would go do shows, and it just got bigger and bigger from there.
And you're participating in the Fringe this year, and you're bringing in a spoken word element as well as a dance element, and that's where Tooth Maze comes in. The two of you, I'll just sort of open that up. How did that collaboration come to be?
Sure.
What has it been like?
Can I start?
Yeah,
Again,
let's start.
There's that destiny, again,
Yep.
that destiny, which I really believe, had to happen. I went to Metro State. They were having like an open mic night, and the gentleman that you're going to see also in the show, where you saw him dancing, Dave, the one that does the popping and locking, introduced me to him. He said, "You got to know this guy. He's an amazing guy." But then what was great is I got to see his work, and his spoken word poetry just blew me away. It was just so heartfelt and real. And then I have to add, he could relate to dancehall reggae. That's big for me because I'm from New York, where that's big. And that's not happening here. So when he started saying, "Yeah, man,"
We had something in common.
there was something in common right away.
And once again, music, the art, bringing us together.
Yeah.
And what is it like working with a dance group, sort of bringing your thing into that?
It's beautiful because Edna is very professional. She's very professional, has a very commanding and positive spirit, and she knows what she wants. So me being very accustomed to working on the drop of a dime, I was ready. I was already ready. Pretty much, that's my style of creativity. Already in another form. Dancing and poetry to me are so much alike. There's a lot of improv that happens, and there's a lot of spirit that goes into creating both forms. And I've already worked with Dancing Dave before, so we have a relationship from being known in the community as artists. And so in hip hop, I'm very well known in the hip hop community and hip hop circles. I'm noted as one of the hip hop pioneers in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been doing the art form since the early 80s. And so meeting Edna is just another addition to a beautiful journey that's already been in place. And it's just good.
And this piece that you're doing, it's called
African Roads, American Streets.
Okay, and talk a little bit about it's a different mix of styles. I mean, Truth Maze is part of that, but also it's different styles of dance as well. There's the African as well as the different styles of contemporary dance here in America. Talk a little bit about that mix and why you decided to bring those together.
Yep. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because of the big influence that I feel West African dance and the culture has in modern American hip hop. Being that I was born in Liberia, I've lived that culture. Moving here at such an early age, I lived the hip hop culture. So there's a passion for presenting this because this is not something that I just watched on television, but I lived both cultures and got a chance to see that there's so many similarities in the dance. And I was really fortunate to actually be doing this in schools. I work with an organization called Young Audiences of Minnesota, and I do that same program in schools where I show the connection of West African dance to modern American hip hop. Blew people away. We would take the steps, the African dance steps, and break it down and show you the hip hop step that looks exactly like that African step. Like, for example, the heel toe, which is a very popular dance here in American hip hop, and that's a Mandingo heel step. The footwork is the exact same way, and that just blew me away. So along with that step and about 4 others, I put together to present a program. But again, you know, the reason why I came up with that title is because the mission of Universal Dance is to bring communities together of all cultures, all diversity. So having this happen, it's just a great way to fuse the whole thing together and show people that, yeah, we're all one, though we have some differences, but we all borrow things from each other.
Okay. And we actually have a sampling of that show that shows both of those things coming together. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll come back and talk a little more about the process and your experience with the Fringe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Spirit presence, vibration, sound, rhythm, movement, life resounds in patterns of cosmic communication to which we are bound by ancestral force, our bodies, vessels for God's translation. We are the drum, born from the great womb of our motherland. We are living drumbeat children, love manifest in flesh, bearers of gift, benders of light, transformers of energy, causing life to expand, soul supplied, bodies electric and voices amplified, griot to MC, djembe to drum machine. Here's what we mean: balafone to xylophone, kora to guitar. That's where we are. Lamban to locking, capoeira to breakdancing. Here's our enhancing, spirit possession to popping, catching the Holy Ghost to up rocking. We are time non-stopping, child, adult, elder, ancestral. This is our eternal flow, spirit essence, vibration, sound, rhythm, movement, life resounds, and we change the planet. I love to experiment as an artist, and I'm not afraid to stretch out further. You know, and with using spoken word, I think it's just a perfect combination. Once again, it helps to tell the story just from another angle, and then having the dance element being supportive. I believe that people learn in so many different ways, and so you have the body language conveying the story, but then you also have the words conveying the story, and I just think it's a perfect combination. Plus, it's kind of like cross-pollinating. We can influence and nurture the art on the scene here, and hopefully inspire someone else to take it to yet another level. But Edna's doing and keeps doing good work, and so that's what I'm about, is seeing that good work happen. So.
And why are you all bringing this good work to the Fringe? I mean, what was it about the Fringe that attracted you as a venue to sort of reach audiences?
Okay. Art in general attracts me. Anything that will draw people to come and see different cultures, and I think that that's what makes this production unique, is because there's not too many companies doing this. You're not going to see too many West African dancing at the Fringe. Maybe some hip hop, but not much. And it's definitely, I don't think anyone else that's doing that fusion of taking the two cultures and putting it together and showing the similarities, yet the some differences. So I think that the Fringe would be a great place to be, because of course it's one of the largest festivals in the year, right? And just to be somewhere where we can definitely draw people to what we do, but at the same time have people see what we're about, in connecting communities, because we're expecting our audience to be of all different cultures, nationalities, backgrounds.
You have to return back to the source. You have to return back to the source. The source is where it's rich at. It's kind of like when a good pot of greens are made. All the seasoning is in the juice, and that's the basis to it. And so I choose to use spoken word as a way to re-influence hip hop, because hip hop is now taking on forms that are not as pleasing to my heart. And I want to talk to the whole planet. And through spoken word, I feel like I have a better chance of doing that, as opposed to maybe just talking to maybe one school of listeners or one generation of school of thought or whatever, And so that's what I mean, because I love hip hop music. I'm a hip hop diehard. But I also know that I have a duty as an artist. I have to be consciously responsible to what I say. So.
And Edna, you and Dan?
Wonderful. I love the way you put that.
Thank you very much.
Let's see if I can. Again, I feel for me, it's who I am. Dance has always been me since I was a little girl. I've been to dance school since I was a little girl, and it's just who I am. It's a way for me to not only express myself, because I think people don't realize that there's different ways to express yourself. We don't even have to talk, and I can dance, and you can know how I feel, or how I'm feeling, what mood I am. That's so important in dance. And even when I do like residencies and workshops, and you can take a kid that's really quiet and they're not really talking, but then you put that music on, it's like, wow, you see what that child is all about. So that's what I love about dancing, is that it gives us that way to express ourselves other than words, because some of us don't want to do too much talking. And that's where I brought him in there, because for this Fringe show, I can do all the dancing I need to do and have a brother here who is, that's his gift, and this is what he's about. And complement each other. Yeah, work together.
Well, if people are looking for information on the Fringe show, there'll be a page certainly on the Fringe website that has the dates and the times. You guys are at the Southern Theater.
Yes.
And also, in addition to that, if they're interested in your company and perhaps the classes as well, universaldance.com is the website.
It's the website, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both so much for coming in. Thanks for bringing in your troupe to give us a little taste of what you're all about.
It's our pleasure.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing the finished product in August. It should be a great Fringe show.
We'll see you at the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. This unique gathering of performing artists only lasts for 11 days, August 3rd through 13th. For performance locations, times, and other information, check out the Fringe website, or visit my site at www.matthewaeverett.com for my Fringe blog, reviews, theater listings, and more. I'm Matthew Everett. Thanks for joining our conversation. We'll see you next time on Q to Q.